Hello everybody, I'm Chris Bottger and welcome back to another album review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Pink Floyd's very first album, 1967's Pow R at the Gates of Dawn. Now, with a name like that, it's gotta be a pretty awesome album, right? This is the only Pink Floyd album to fully feature original lead member Syd Barrett. Barrett's style leans a lot more towards fantasy-oriented songs that the band would later drop, but throughout this album, you can also hear the more familiar sci-fi sounds from the band as well. Also of note is this album does not feature David Gilmour at all. He would not join until shortly afterwards. As of this album, Pink Floyd's lineup consisted of Barrett, Roger Waters, Nick Mason, and Richard Wright. Barrett sings lead on most of the songs, although we do see some vocals from both Wright and Waters. Now, before I start going through each song, I do want to ask you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. Thank you. From the opening beeps, Astronomy Domine proves to be a suitably spacey song to start Pink Floyd's discography off. The lyrics tell of some sort of alien landscape. The song is both very mellow, but also pretty creepy sounding, a sound which Pink Floyd excels at, even this early on. Sure, this song isn't mind-blowing if you are familiar with Pink Floyd's later work, but in 1967, I'd imagine this is pretty impressive upon first listen. Lucifer Sam is a more standard-sounding song. It's got a lot of mod influence to it, and kind of sounds like the Batman theme. This song is about the single having a feud with his girlfriend's cat. Also, the girlfriend is a witch. Maybe? Basically, the single seems to want the cat to go away so he can get with the woman. I'd imagine the single's a pretty petty person to be feuding with a cat, but hey, what do I know? This is the 60s. I quite like this song, actually, even though it sounds nothing like Pink Floyd. It's a good mod song along the lines of Orly, The Who, or The Kinks. Matilda Mother is a song from the point of view of a child who enjoys the bedtime stories their mother reads to them. This song also has a kind of mod vibe to it, although it also has an exotic-sounding guitar part. The vocals here also give off what is almost a 80s new wave vibe. They kind of remind me of the Buggles in some way. Flaming is really more of the same. There isn't a huge amount I can say about it that I didn't already say about Matilda Mother. They both work best when played together on the album, although Matilda Mother does work a little bit better as a standalone song than Flaming. Up next is a short by Pink Floyd standards, a short instrumental called Pow R Toc H. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but this track has an emphasis on animal sounds, although I think it really is just the members of the band making funny noises with their mouths, but hey. Otherwise, it does have some good things going on with the instruments. I especially like the bass line on the song, and the keyboard parts. Still, it is the kind of song that is competently delivered, but at the same time, almost fully unengaging. It's kind of cool when you're listening to it, sure, but at the same time, you'll forget it almost as soon as the song's over. Oddly enough, Pink Floyd's next few albums also place heavy emphasis on this style, with admittedly mixed results. Take Up Thy Stethoscope and Walk is a more standard psychedelic breakdown song. It's nothing revolutionary, but it's a fun example of songs of this type. You've got a lot of furious electric guitar going on, as well as the whole make weird noises with your mouth approach. The lyrics are nonsense because, of course, they are, this is the 60s. The electric organ just styles the 60s-ness up even further. Heck, I can practically see Awful Brown coming down the road over there. Alright, starting off side 2 we have Interstellar Overdrive. This starts off as an infinitely groovier track, still very psychedelic, but much more rhythmic in a lot of ways. We do of course have then to have a more spacey part with a lot of beeping in the middle. It's a bit of an acquired taste, sure, but it works well. We've then got some creepy dissonant parts, and a sound of increasing tension. It then continues to shift keys throughout various creepy sections. At the very end it goes back to the more upbeat stuff from the start, except with some annoying stereo effects. You know, you can kind of feel like it's playing tennis in your brain, you know? Luckily it's only a few seconds at the end of the song. Interstellar Overdrive is an intriguing song, if nothing else, and is a good example of Pink Floyd's emerging style, as well as the strength at longer instrumentals. The Gnome is a song about, well, gnomes. This is one of the fairy tale tracks on the album. Despite its dissimilarity to Pink Floyd's later work, I actually find songs like this to be quite charming. That said, this song does feel rather anticlimactic after the cinematic sounds of Interstellar Overdrive. Still, I do kinda like it. Chapter 24 is, to put it lightly, a bit of dogmatic fluff. I don't think Syd Barrett necessarily thought it was fluff, but let's face it, around this time a lot of Westerners became obsessed with what they saw as foreign mysticism. The whole thing produced some great music, but was also a rather silly fad. Chapter 24 isn't really one of the best in this style, but it is decent enough and works well with the simpler songs here towards the end of the album. The Scarecrow is a little song about a scarecrow. It's got a fitting backing, although nothing super impressive. Otherwise, I don't really know how to describe this song other than cute, I guess? Bike is perhaps the song that best sums up Syd Barrett's era of Pink Floyd. It's a song sung by a weird, but rather nice guy trying to woo over a girl. He's weird, but perfectly self-assured in his weirdness. He basically pulls out all sorts of weird stuff to show off throughout the song. Whoa. After a while, we get a section of some thunderclaps, and then the sounds of clocks and clinking metal. This is a precursor to Dark Side of the Moon, in which Pink Floyd once again employed the clock trick to great effect. You probably didn't need me to tell you that, but hey, it's foreshadowing. Unintentionally, but it'll come back to be important later. And then, of course, at the end of the album, we do, of course, get the inevitable ducks! Alright, well, that is it for the song-by-song breakdown, and here, before we go on to my final thoughts on the album, I do, of course, as always, want to give my review scores for the songs. So, here we go, starting off. For Astronomy Domine, I give 7 out of 10. Lucifer Sam, I give 7 out of 10. Matilda Mother, I give 7 out of 10. Beginning to see a pattern here, perhaps? Flaming, I give 6 out of 10. Pow R Toc H, well, however it's said, I give 6 out of 10. Take Up Thy Stethoscope and Walk, I give 6 out of 10. Interstellar Overdrive, I give 7 out of 10. The Gnome, I give 7 out of 10. Chapter 24, I give 6 out of 10. The Scarecrow, 7 out of 10. And Bike, 7 out of 10. As it comes to reviewing the album as a whole now, I'm going to start with the bad and then work my way up to the good. This album is inconsistent. The long, spacey songs don't really feel like they belong on an album with the cutesy stuff. On top of that, a lot of the short, silly songs are dumped at the end of side 2, after Interstellar Overdrive. Interstellar Overdrive would have made a great album closer, but instead it comes in the middle and leaves almost everything after it feeling rather anticlimactic. Despite some cohesion problems, however, those songs are all quite good and feel very dynamic. Alright, sure, there isn't a track on this album that's a must-have, but all the songs are pretty good. Interstellar Overdrive would probably be worth a high score if it wasn't for Pink Floyd's later exploits with animals. I also quite like the kooky little fairy tale songs. They smell like cookies and peppermint. I'm not ashamed to say, Bike lives rent-free in my head. This is probably my favorite Pink Floyd album of the 1960s. The next couple ones lose some of the spark Piper at the Gates of Dawn has. This isn't a perfect album. It is quite messy, but it is both bold and competent. It's these elements that help it to stand out amongst all the other mid-60s psychedelic dreck. In the end, I recognize this album is probably a 7 out of 10, but I quite like it. If you get really tuned into it, you can get endless enjoyment from it. I love to put this record on when working on non-music related projects. I always get a kick out of it. As such, I'm going to afford it an 8 out of 10. Alright, and now time to look at the sleeve. On the front, you've got this kind of kaleidoscope picture of the band. It's quite nice. It shows their lineup at the time. I'll be a little distorted. It's very psychedelic, very 60s. Check out this bright orange. Check out Syd Barrett's weird thing. Just absolutely strange, like flower power clothing choices all around, you know? I also kind of like the shade of green that's the background. I don't know what's with that. It looks really like retro vintage. I don't know. I just kind of like the colors on this. It's pretty good. The back is less good. The back is... I guess this is supposed to be like a distorted silhouette of them. It looks a little weird. It makes it look like they're like weird blob people. Now, I don't know, maybe Pink Floyd actually are weird blob people, or were weird blob people in 1967, but, you know, that might actually explain some things. But yeah, the back's a little plain. I don't really like the back. I do really like the front. I think the front looks great, actually. I also like this kind of psychedelic font that the logo, the name's in. So yeah, That's it. Pretty good sleeve, pretty good album. Now, before I go, I do want to encourage you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you like this style of album review, then please go check out my Patreon. I'm taking requests, so if you want to see me review your favorite album, or you just want to support me in some way, then you should totally go check it out. I'll have a link in the video description below. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.